From Recorded Future News and PRX, this is Click Here.
That is the biggest cup of coffee I've ever seen.
I know. And I got it when I was 8, and it's just enormous, and I love it so much.
It's awesome. Is that a gallon or half a gallon?
Yeah, just about.
From Recorded Future News, this is Click Here's Mic Drop, a longer listen to one of our favorite interviews of the week. I'm Dina Temple-Raston. And today, we're taking you somewhere a little unexpected. Rome. Not the Rome of Vespas and lattes. Gregory Peck and Audrey Hepburn's Roman holiday.
Why don't you take a little time for yourself?
I could do some of the things I've always wanted to.
But the one steeped in theology and ritual. And our guide is Heather Mellquist Lehto.
I'm an anthropologist who has studied religion and technology around the world.
Heather's academic life has been devoted to tracing the long-standing but sometimes uneasy relationship between faith and innovation. And as part of this, she's been spending time talking to a group of men you wouldn't think cared about things like deepfakes or robots. The Vatican.
Historically, the Catholic Church has often led conversations about technological change, especially when it poses great threats to kind of humanity on a global scale.
Stay with us. Support for Click Here comes from Clean My Mac. A cluttered desktop isn't just an eyesore. It wastes mental energy, slows down your Mac, hampers focus. Since 2008, Clean My Mac has helped users optimize their devices, and the latest version focuses on comprehensive care, not just cleaning. With Clean My Mac, you'll boost both your Mac's performance and your productivity by easily identifying and removing large unnecessary files, including cache files. Clean My Mac finds outdated files that can be safely removed, so there's no need to worry about losing important documents or photos. Decluttering isn't just about speed, it's about creating an environment that helps you work smarter, not harder. Your Mac will continue to run clutter-free with the Smart Care feature, ensuring your Mac stays in top shape. With just one click, you can effortlessly clean up RAM, manage processes, and even check for malware. Deep clean your Mac, scan for potential threats, and boost performance all with one click. Experience Clean My Mac for yourself. Try it free for 7 days and use promo code CLICK, as in click here, to save an additional 20% on your purchase at cleanmymac.com. Click Here is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company has affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations. I'm Dina Temple-Raston, and this is Click Here's Mic Drop. For decades, the Vatican has weighed in on some of the biggest debates swirling around emerging technology. And Heather Mellquist Lehto says nuclear weapons were a great example of this.
So in the mid to late 20th centuries, they took great care and reflection about nuclear weapons and published a lot of material to kind of address the harms that nuclear weapons pose to humanity.
Pope Pius, before a gathering of famous scientists and high church dignitaries, warns the world that agreement to ban the atom bomb must be reached.
Even the Vatican's Christmas broadcast became opportunities to decry the big red button. So when rumblings about artificial intelligence began to emerge, Pope Francis didn't wait for the rest of the world to speak up.
With anything this powerful and transformational, like there's potential for all sorts of really, really good things, but then potential for all sorts of really, really bad things. And they want to just make sure that the good things happen and not the bad things.
In February 2020, before ChatGPT, the Pope launched something called the Rome Call for AI Ethics.
The Rome Call for AI Ethics really was very early, so well before AI was on everyone's lips. Pope Francis organized a group of leaders to come together and to sign on for a shared set of principles. These are key principles that they thought should guide the development and implementation of AI around the world.
The Vatican gathered not just religious and government leaders, but tech giants also weighed in, including some very familiar names like Cisco and Microsoft and IBM.
So he got everyone together in early 2020 to sign on to this kind of shared set of principles so that there was some agreement of where AI should be headed in the future.
And what did they come up with?
They came up with 6 principles for AI ethics. They all add up to essentially the idea that AI systems need to serve and protect human beings and the environment. Those are transparency, inclusion, accountability, impartiality, reliability, and security and privacy. I don't think that these can be seen as being unique to the Vatican or the Catholic Church at all. These are kind of broadly shared concerns.
Concerns that went way beyond just AI's impact on humans.
How much water does that cost to cool the data centers? And am I exacerbating climate change in a way that's going to destroy God's creation?
Once the group established those baseline principles, the Vatican continued to look at how they would be applied. This is when Heather got involved. In 2021, the Vatican invited her to advise them on the ethics and impact of AI globally. So her focus wasn't just Silicon Valley, it was the rest of the world.
So not just in North America or in Europe, places that are very well represented in these sorts of discussions, but how does AI impact people who are living in East Asia or South Asia or the Middle East or in Africa or in South America? And so because the Vatican and the Catholic Church thinks of itself as such a global organization, they really want to consider how AI will have differentiated effects on different people.
Take the environmental impact of AI.
The Catholic Church is very much thinking about if you use this, it's going to make sea levels rise, and then our communities who live in low-lying areas in Southeast Asia are going to lose their homes.
But since that early rattling of conscience, headlines have only escalated.
There's a Chinese startup that few people had ever heard of, and it has emerged as a real player in the AI arms race.
This is something that we've never seen before. The CEOs of some of the most powerful and wealthy technology and media companies in the world seated on the platform for the inauguration of an American president.
China, the U.S., startups, lobbyists, political entanglements. AI has morphed into something bigger and faster and more contested. And the Pope is still speaking out, using his pulpit to resist what he calls technocracy. And that is when we come back. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Morgan Sung, host of Close All Tabs from KQED, where every week we reveal how the online world collides with everyday life.
You don't know what's true or not because you don't know if AI was involved in it.
So my first reaction was, haha, this is so funny. And my next reaction was, wait a minute, I'm a journalist. Is this real?
And I think we will see a Twitch streamer president maybe within our lifetimes.
You can find Close All Tabs wherever you listen to podcasts.
While American tech leaders court deregulation,
AI is just one of these many examples of areas where we have sort of gotten to a point of overregulation, which is going to completely harm our ability to grow in the future.
Over in Italy, the Pope leans in the opposite direction.
Sul processo di scelta dei programmi di intelligenza artificiale.
At last summer's G7, he became the first Catholic leader to address the group. And while he praised AI's potential for things like medicine and education, he also issued some stark warnings.
The Pope has even called for an all-out ban on the use of AI in autonomous weapons because of its potential sweeping devastation to humanity.
And when it came to generative AI, he said his concerns weren't just technical, they were bigger than that.
Certain technologies enable human-to-human connections, and certain technologies kind of replace human-to-human connection. Behind that LLM, what kinds of sources are now being used as the authority for this? The point is that whoever kind of owns and constructs these LLMs then has the power to decide what
you see.
Yeah, exactly. And what's theologically correct, right? What is moral and amoral? They're sort of deciding it by how they populate these systems. And, the average user doesn't have a lot of kind of access to this information, or if they do, time to kind of go through it and make sure that the answers that they're getting are coming from sources that they really approve of.
And it could be the ultimate filter bubble, right?
That's right.
This past January, the Vatican went further, publishing a formal warning about AI's shadow of evil, or the belief that technology alone can treat what ails us. This April, even after weeks in the hospital, Pope Francis released a video prayer.
Oremos para que el uso de las nuevas tecnologías.
Let us pray that the use of the new technologies will not replace human relationships, and that it will respect the dignity of the person and will help us face the crises of our time.
It was a prayer not for healing, but for something deeper, a kind of reminder for the world to keep the humans at the center of their thoughts and to preserve what matters most.
AI ethics debates in a way that makes sure that AI benefits everybody and brings us closer to a more equal and more just world.
Because when we ask what kind of world AI is building, we're really asking what kind of world we're willing to live in. And the Vatican, however unlikely it may seem, is just one of the few institutions still insisting we pause and ask that kind of question. From Recorded Future News, this has been Click Here's Mic Drop. It was written and produced by Megan Dietrich, Sean Powers, Erica Gaida, Zach Hirsch, Lucas Riley, and me, Dina Temple-Rest. It was edited by Karen Duffin. We'll be back on Tuesday with an all-new episode of Click Here. Have a great weekend. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. It's a simple truth. No matter who you are, mental health challenges can affect you, and how you manage them can make all the difference. That's why everyone should have access to mental health support that meets them where they are and helps them get through. BetterHelp provides online therapy on your schedule. It's flexible, simple to use, and more affordable than in-person therapy. Connect with a licensed therapist selected just for you. Learn more at betterhelp.com. That's betterhelp.com.
Looking for more of the cybersecurity and intelligence coverage you get on Click Here? Then check out our sister publication, The Record, from Recorded Future News. You'll get breaking cyber news from reporters in New York, Washington, London, and Kyiv, among others. And you'll see for yourself why it attracts hundreds of thousands of page views every month. Just go to therecord.media.